Stone, civil liberties attorney, also Roger Stone's attorney. Incontrovertible, overwhelming evidence now, and yet nobody's indicted Greg Jarrett.
Well, I would hope that the indictments would soon follow. I think there's one or more individuals who were in on the conspiracy to defraud and, violate constitutional rights, and I think that person is talking and implicating all of the others. So I do expect indictments to follow. But, the clips you play just show how devious and corrupt these people are. James Comey's FBI, along with Andrew McCabe, sending in an FBI agent to not debrief Trump, but to gather incriminating evidence against him in this undercover operation, classic spying on a presidential candidate to help the other candidate, Hillary Clinton. And of course, they gathered nothing incriminating because it was all a hoax. There was no collusion, and the FBI will do it. They didn't care. This is truly despicable behavior. And, the FBI agent at the center of this, Joe Pientka, is being hidden by the FBI and Christopher Wray, the current director. They don't make him available to Congress for questioning. They have sequestered him in the field office of the FBI and scrubbed him from their website. So the cover-up, Sean, continues to this day. Wray should be fired for his involvement in what is essentially obstruction of Congress.
You and I are on the same page on all of this. David Schoen, in spite of the referrals, in spite of now overwhelming evidence now about Comey and McCabe and others, they didn't get your client, process crime, lying to Congress, 29 guys in tactical gear, frogmen, pre-dawn raid, guns drawn, just like Manafort, except Manafort didn't have the CNN cameras tipped off. Process crimes. I gotta tell you, if we don't get this right, there's not equal justice and equal application of laws. Say bye-bye to the country.
There's no way to justify any of this conduct. Listen, can you imagine how it could be that Hillary Clinton wouldn't get indicted for what she did with her email server? I mean, the length they went to destroy those emails, any other American would have been indicted for that kind of thing. It starts there. But, I had to laugh. I hate to say it because it's sick. I had to laugh when I hear McCabe saying the conservative media, has it wrong, and that they think that somehow Flynn was set up. Nothing wrong was done there. Did he miss the whole submission the independent prosecutor made to Judge Sullivan? Exculpatory evidence was withheld. No one would have done this. But this is the problem when the media is working hand in hand with the wrongdoers. They refuse to expose it, and unfortunately, history shows that when people tell a lie long enough and broadly enough, other people tend to believe that's the truth. That's a very dangerous predicament, especially when it's being done by people in our government.
Hate to tell you, but the conservative media is all of us, because there weren't many of us. Greg, you and I discussed this recently.
You've been with day one.
Well, I wish I was wrong, but I still trust the 99% of good FBI agents that risk their lives, and the 99% of intelligence officials that don't abuse power aren't corrupt, Greg Jarrett.
Yeah, but there are crooked people like James Comey and Andrew McCabe. And, McCabe was fired for lying to the FBI. So he's a perfect fit for CNN, where he's been fired, a lying commentator working for a lying network. The mainstream media, which...
By the way, can I stop you? Why didn't I think of that line? Go ahead.
Well, you can use it anytime you want.
That's called plagiarism. That turns me into Joe Biden.
It surely would. But you have my permission. The mainstream media drove this narrative, and they were so gleefully doing it, and they were relying on information from leakers without ever independently trying to determine whether the information leaked to them was true or false. They didn't care as long as it damaged Trump. And, leakers like McCabe, and we now know he was a leaker and tried to blame other people for his leaks and got caught doing it. They're all now working together in concert to try to perpetuate the hoax and the myth, even though we now know that early in 2017, when Trump was inaugurated, they knew it was all a lie. It was funded by the Hillary Clinton campaign. And, the lies will continue until Durham's indictments are released, and therein will contain the story, damning evidence of corruption and abuse of power.
Where does this end, David Schoen, and why is it taking so long? Well, it didn't take long to go after your client.
That's right. Listen, there is a network, an old boy network going on. I hope that Greg Jarrett is right. I hope they're indictments. I've been a cynic all along about that. I just haven't seen it. And because I haven't seen it, I thought we would see it after the Inspector General's report. There were scathing reports about McCabe and Comey and wrongdoing. Anyone else would have been indicted. We just haven't seen it yet. And I'm very worried that we won't. And that it proves what you've said all along, this dual system of justice. And how long can the American people be snowed? Greg Jarrett's books documents every bit of this with footnotes. You can't get around it. Your show has exposed every step of the way what they've done. None of it should come as a surprise when you see Mueller pick a team completely of partisans and a right-hand person like Andrew Weissman. The handwriting was on the wall from the start.
It's scary that this could happen in the country, and that's where I keep getting back to. Now we're getting into a political season. And I know it took forever to get the IG report. Now it's taken forever to get Durham to act. I understand the courts might have been closed down in terms of convening grand juries, but that now is back in action, Greg?
Yeah, I believe it is. Of course, grand juries are secret, so we can't know absolutely for sure. But just as everybody else telecommunicates, the grand jury, I suppose, could do so on secure venues. So. But I would suspect that they're back in action. The material has been presented to them, and I am more and more confident. The more these documents emerge, as they did yesterday, the more confident I am that there will be significant indictments against the people who must be held accountable.
Can you give me the who's who? Who gets indicted?
If it were left to me, it would be Comey, McCabe, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, Kevin Klein-Smith, probably Joe Pientka, and a whole host of others. And that's just the people at the FBI. And, there are people who were involved in the Obama administration at the State Department, the Department of Justice. They may be on the list, and I would expect people that we perhaps have never even heard of. Who have come forward or been caught at first to tell the truth. So we'll wait and see.
What do you think is on the list, David Schoen?
Again, I remain a cynic. I don't believe that. Greg just named a murderer's row at the FBI. I don't believe a single one will be indicted, and I believe any other American citizen similarly situated would be. I think it's a shock to what's going on in our system, and I'm very worried about it. Frankly, I'm worried about the message it sends. And can you imagine when these folks get in office, this will all be thrown under the rug forever. There's no reason Mr. Durham shouldn't have released indictments by now. Grand juries are meeting all over the country still.
All right. I got to stop you not because I want to, but because we've got bills to pay. But we'll continue more. Greg Jarrett, David Schoen, my interview with the president coming up, final half hour on this Friday. Our friends at Chamonix, they've done it again. Blah, blah, you get the idea. Roger, check it. Line up. And failed miserably. Guess that can't be true. Stop and Shop has starters and you say, okay. You can quit. Mentality. Get a pitch and get it in the air and drive the ball. So I don't understand